If you own or manage a website, chances are you already know that the work is never done. There's always small tweaks to be made, like adding text, swapping in new images, or other basic content updates. But every once in a while, though, it's important to do a more broad website refresh. In this video, we're going to talk about a couple easy things to look for to know when it's time for a website refresh. So there's lots of reasons why somebody might want to refresh their website, but we're going to talk through 5 key themes that are easy to look for and say, maybe it's time for a website refresh. And the first one, honestly, is just taking a look at the calendar. How long has it been since you last refreshed your website? So a good, well-built website should have the infrastructure and underlying platform and setup to last for a couple of years. But probably 3 years or so is a good general rule of thumb to think about doing a refresh. The reason being, technology changes, your business could change, aesthetics change, things like that. Just like you want to regularly do an oil change in your car, every once in a while you want to do that gut check for your website also. So if it's been a while, let's say 2, 3 years, maybe 4, definitely time to think about, is it time to refresh your website? The second thing that might be a prompt for considering a refresh for your website is, has your business changed? So if you look at your website and say, that's not really who we are anymore, or it's not where you're going as a business, it might be time for a refresh. So those could be things like team member changes, major changes to the products or services you offer, changes to how you're positioning your company to your customers or in comparison to your competitors. If something has changed about your business, it's time to pause and just make sure the website reflects who you are and where you're going. The third thing to think about that might prompt a website refresh is your rebranding. So this is not too different than number 2, but really we're thinking about if you are changing your logo, your company colors, fonts, or if you just need to spruce things up overall and have a new look. That might be a prompt for a website refresh, because obviously for changing how you're presenting yourself, the website is kind of your face to the world virtually of who you are and how you position yourselves. So if you're thinking about rebranding, probably time for a website refresh. The fourth reason why it might be time for a website refresh is your technology that's running your website is outdated. Now, sometimes there are obvious things like your website just doesn't work as well as it should. You want to do things with your website that your current platform won't let you, or sometimes you want to just make changes, but you can't. You need to go through a developer to make those changes. Those are some flags that say it might be time for a refresh. Now, one other thing too is, back in the day, it was popular to get custom-built websites, and people can still make custom-built websites nowadays. But what that used to mean was actually from scratch coding custom-built HTML and CSS. And it's just not necessary nowadays because there are so many really great platforms where a designer and developer can build the site to your specifications and really customize it for you, but it's not using literal custom HTML and CSS, because what that means is if your website's built that way, unless you know how to do coding, you can't make website updates on your own. You need to go through that developer. And that's just not necessary anymore because there are so many great user-friendly platforms that work really, really well. So if you're finding yourself either consistently having to go to a developer to make changes, or if it's been a while, or if you're using a platform that's out of date and you can't do the things you want to do, that's probably a good technological reason why it might be time for a website refresh. Last, the fifth and final reason that it might be time for a website refresh, that we'll talk about in this video at least, is that your website is slow. So slow loading websites aren't just a pain for the visitors, because no one likes waiting for images to load, for content to load, things like that. But also Google prioritizes websites that are fast loading. So if you're trying to have your website and business found in Google search results, if your website's slow, it's going to get buried. So there are some tools out there where you can quickly do an assessment, and granted, you'll know from your own experience if you're having trouble loading your website, but there are some tools out there that can run a quick query or assessment of your website and give you a snapshot of how you're doing. One of the ones we like the best is called GTmetrix, and you can find it at gtmetrix.com. We'll include a screenshot right here. And basically, you just plug in your website's address, Wait a few moments and it'll give you a score as well as some tips to update your website. Now, if you're not getting a great score, it might be time to think about why that is. It could be your hosting platform you're using. It could be the underlying technology. But if you want to talk with an experienced web developer, they can help translate what some of those tidbits mean and how you could use it to either improve your website as is or if it's time for a refresh. As always, thanks for watching this video. If any of these things we've talked about today resonate with you and say, you know what, maybe it's worth talking with somebody, feel free to get in touch. No pressure, no obligation. We're very happy to help. You can learn more about our company, Buddy, at www.buddywdd.com. And on our website, you can find a simple form to get in touch, or you can just drop us an email as well and get the conversation started. So again, thanks for watching, and talk to you again real soon.